Are there any such thing as good cops?
Are they good cops? I would say no. I would say no. And the reason why I say no is because
Oh, you're an asshole.
it's like this code of silence thing that goes on. And my family is in law. A lot of my family is in law enforcement, and I'm a security professional. And when an officer tries to actually do good, then they single them out, and especially if you're a whistleblower and you will get harassed, like I've heard that from numerous police officers. And so being a good cop is only relative to other cops. You're not really like a good cop, or you couldn't be a cop, basically. So that's pretty much, I don't believe so.
Officer Nichols?
Hold on, give me a minute. I'm installing my filter. Do I think there's good cops? Yes. Do I think that good cops have to suffer way more than other non-good cops? Fuck yeah. Like you said, yes, we get singled out. Now, I'm not a cop. I am a security officer. But I work with cops every day. Now, my goal is to be a police officer. Now, if I get singled out and I get my ass handed to me by a couple of my officers, well then, you better hope to God that there ain't another single fucking officer in this police department that is not good. Because if there is, I will take every single one of you motherfuckers to court. So I don't care if you one of my brothers in blue or not, motherfucker. You broke the law, bitch, you going to jail. You find unmarked bills, you take that shit to fucking police department. Yes, there are good cops. Some people want to help the community, like myself. I want to be a cop because I want to provide my community with the feeling of, oh, thank God he's here, I'm safe. That is why I want to be a cop. I don't want to do it because it pays well, because Lord knows we do not get paid nearly fucking enough to get shot at and to deal with all the bullshit that we have to deal with, especially today. So yes, long story short, there are good cops. And if you think that there's not, then don't call them when you get raped, when you get murdered, when you get shot. Fuck you.
Well, I would think that the police are kind of like a necessary thing. Because the police are necessary, that don't mean that a cop is necessarily good just because you need the police.
But do you want someone bad helping you? I mean, I wouldn't.
I'm on both sides of this. I think there's good cops, and the good cops get a bad rap because of the bad cops. I know a lot of cops that they try to abuse their power. Absolutely. But I some good cops that are just like, we're getting the shit end of the stick, and all we've been trying to do is protect people. So I'm on both sides of it.
I know that there's good and bad in everybody, but at the same time, the environment that we're in right now, we have so much going on, and there's too many things that are going on wrong where when we say that if you are a good cop, then you have to start reporting the things that are happening on the bad side. But I think we're beyond that at this point, because a lot of people, they've been in the industry for so long that being crooked is part of their job. So there are some good cops, but I'm not here to try to figure it out. Haji has something too.
So you're telling me if I'm good at my job and I don't report what the next person doing wrong at their job, that makes me not good at my job? I mean,
you're not a good person.
Well, good people and good cops, because the best cops can go home and beat their wives, or the worst cops can go home and be a great person. A police officer is a job, and it's a dangerous job. They're out there risking their lives, left and right for certain things. I believe there's corrupt in every society. I was pulled over by a kid. He's a grown man now. One of my brother's friends. I know him since he was like in the 7th, 8th grade. He's a cop, and it's like I can't hate on every police officer for a few bad experiences. And I know it's kind of rough in Arizona because so much goes on with the Phoenix PD, and it's kind of like you want to put a stigma on it, but it's just impossible. I can't be stigmatized for my friends or for the people that look like me, and I wouldn't want to stigmatize every cop for what the last cop did to me. Now, are they all fair? No, they're not. Being a cop's not fair.
Absolutely.
I'll say there is some good cops out there.
Would
There's
you
a lot of bad cops. There's a few good cops.
A question I have.
I need to ask them real quick. Are we talking about good at their job or good as in good people? Because that's two different things.
Well, if you're good at your job at being a cop, I would suggest that you would not harass me. not give me a false ticket, not be a dick. You can be a dick and be a fair police officer. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you didn't take me to jail for no reason doesn't make you a good person. So that's what I'm looking at. Like, are there good and bad cops? Like, I believe there's good cops. You know, that doesn't make them good people. There's good cops. You know.
Would you guys say that there is a problem where profiling in the police department goes too far to where they look at black people or they look at minorities and they automatically profile them? Would you say that that's something that actually exists, or is that like a myth?
So I have two comments. I do believe there are good cops and there are bad cops. One, I have a best friend who is a cop. Two, I have an uncle who is a cop. So let me tell you about my uncle. My uncle is Asian and he's married to my aunt. He lives in California, Palmdale. And I asked him one time before, like, if you seen a black guy in a white community, what would you do? And he literally told me I would stop him and ask him why he was in that community. Like, what business do you have here? And I was like, well, what if it was opposite? Like, if you seen a white man in a ghetto community, like, how would you respond to that? He was like, I would stop and ask him if he needed help. And I looked at my aunt and I was like, what the hell? Like, you just married a whole fucking racist. Like, are you serious right now? But no, he literally said that to me, and I was really shocked because, once again, I'm a black woman, and this is my uncle saying some shit like this, and you married to a black woman. I mean, granted, my aunt don't look black, but I feel that there are good cops, there are bad cops, but what I also feel is a lot of people don't stand up, and I'm one here to tell you that when you stand up and you start whistle blowing, as people say, you lose your job. What, people don't want to lose their job for ungrateful ass people. I'm sorry, and I'm here to tell you. Like, you go and you say something, you speak up for what's wrong, and then you lose your job. Like, that is an issue. And why do we think that police officers or anybody wants to lose their job? Everybody ain't me. Nobody wants to lose their job for somebody else.
Well, like I said, so no one actually answered my question. The question is, are there good cops? Are you talking about good cops that are good at their job or good cops that are good people? Because that's two different things. I'm defending the good cops that are good people.
Well, I would assume that if you're a good cop, you're a good person. If you're a good person, you're a good cop. Like, period, point blank. And I mean, we're people. There is a spiritual nature. We all have good and bad in us. Cops are people. Cops get frustrated. If I was a cop, I'm like, some of these people frustrate me. Like, I would get frustrated watching the cops go back and forth. We're human. We make mistakes. Sometimes we take it too far. Even in our own personal everyday lives, we take things too far sometimes.
Okay, so let's go to profiling. One of the things that police officers don't say is profiling. They have like a description of a suspect, potential suspect in cities, and most of the time that's a black person. You know, it's like a baseball hat, certain colors. They walk a certain way, whatever, and then basically that's code word for black. And if they're in a like say affluent part of town or part of town where it's a lot of Caucasians, it's a mainly white upscale neighborhood, and then you have it and a black guy, if he fits in, like he has on a suit and tie and all that other type of stuff, then he want, but it's relative to the neighborhood that he's in. So if he looks like what they have the description of a gangbanger, which is sometimes it's going to be a black person, well, then he's going to be profiled. That's how it goes.
I've actually heard cops stop, heard cops stop and be like, well, you fit the description of a suspect. Okay, well, what's the description of the suspect? Oh, the suspect is 5'3". Nick, I'm 5'11". Oh, the suspect has short hair. I have dreads. I was literally with a guy who was a 5'11" skinny black male, and the cops stopped him and said they were looking for a 5'3", 220-pound man with short hair. How the hell did you get the
so this is what see, I think security professionals, they know what their job is to do. A security professional job is to prevent crimes, or when a crime happened, to restore order. So exactly. A security professional, that's his job. He knows that's what his job is. And with a lot of people, they're not clear what the police officer's job is. The police job is, we hope that the police officer would serve the public, and his job is to serve the public. But that's not what the police officer's job is. The police officer's job is to protect certain parts of town. That's what his job is, to protect certain parts of town, and then also to make sure that businesses are not inhabited by criminals or targeted by criminals. And that's what the police are there for.
Okay.
To restore order.
What do you call it? Like in the old movies where they see a stranger coming through town and they say, "Hey, who's that guy we don't know? Let's go over there and ask him a bunch of questions." What kind of profiling is that? If you're in a part of town that you don't, because sometimes it's Mexicans in the black part of town or blacks in the Mexican part of town where it's racial profiled because we don't really fit the description. It does raise some kind of alarms. Now, when you're in a group, and it's like 5 white guys and a black guy, and they point the black guy out, yeah, that's kind of going too far, dude. Like, I understand that. But if you're walking down Gilbert, Arizona, sagging your pants, you know what I'm saying? Rolling a swisher, I'm going to pull you over and say, bro, what the fuck you doing over here if I was the police? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because certain things don't quite look like it's supposed to look. And that's no knock on whatever race, whatever profile. Because if it was a black neighborhood and I seen Chinese guys creeping around the corner, what the fuck are you guys doing over here, dude?
What are these ninjas doing over here?
The profile.
I agree with that. I do agree.
But you can't do that. You can't. What if he's visiting his fucking black friend? What if he's visiting his Asian friend? What if he
No. I agree. But what he's saying though is that that's kind of how it is right now.
But it shouldn't be. It's fucked up.
You know, I agree with you. It should not be like that at all. Saying is, look, certain areas that you go into, that's how it is, and that's why part of this police reform has came up. You know, because it is like that. Bottom line, we all know it's like that. We all know something needs to change. You know, and he's right, because like Lucretia said, was it her uncle told her this same goddamn thing? That's her uncle. Like, that's why, you know, things need to change.
Yeah.
Period.
See, I'm a security officer, so when I have a suspect, let's say he gets away or something, so I always have a recorder on me. It's a little pen. You hit one button to record, you hit one to play. So whenever I'm in pursuit of somebody, like as I'm running after him and I can still see him, hey, he's black, he's white, he's whatever. He has on a blue baseball cap, he's whatever. So I'm doing the description as I can still see him. That way I don't be like, oh, I think he was black, I think he was white, I think he was Asian, I don't remember. That way I can give him a proper description.
The whole point I want to make here is just what Officer Nichols said. I think to fix this, every cop should have a body cam on. Period.
I think they do.
No, yeah, but it's not monitored 24/7. Like, look at everything that's happened recently. The George Floyd shit. Like, it's like this here and there. You're getting some bits and pieces. I think to fix this, because if every cop had a body cam on them, they would be a lot less hesitant to do some racist shit. And that's my view.
Well, just FYI, y'all did not hear this from me, but just so that y'all know, every single police footage on the so every film from body cameras are now being handed over from the actual police department to the government. So from now on, whenever there's a shooting, whenever, I don't care if it's a cop got shot, I don't care if it's a cop got shot, I don't care if it's a woman got shot, whatever. Whenever there's a shooting, the police department has nothing to do with reviewing that camera. From now on, it's going to be a certain part of the government that's going to review it. That way, they can't be fucking biased, they can't be fucking dirty, or as undirty as they can be. The police department has nothing to do with it.
Well, that's how it should be. It should be literally, think about this. If a police officer had a body cam on them and was recording 24/7,
yeah,
there would be a lot less incidents. There would be a lot less racism. There would be a lot less bullshit that we hear in the news. Like, honestly, I just think that would fix the problem, because then when things like this happen, we can get that footage and say, okay, what really happened?
Exactly.
So I'm going to say this real quick. When it comes to the body cam and all that good stuff like that, that's glorious that exists. But to me, I feel like we're beyond that, like I said earlier, because I seen a video. I ended up posting it a couple weeks ago, and there was this little 11-year-old girl at the school. Apparently, she must have been mouthing off to the people that work there, whatever. She was stealing milk. None of us really know what this little girl's going through. neither here nor there. This full-grown man is shoving this little girl, putting her in a full Nelson, like the little girl screaming her head off, little black girl, to the degree where his body cam magically falls off. And whoever the administrators were that were at the school watching, one of the people, they kind of tilted it up so it can film everything that he was doing to the little girl. Now, to me, in my opinion, I have to speak from a place of being a black woman, and I I'm gonna say this in the most respectful place ever. I could care less what is going on in other environments because I personally know people that have been attacked by police, racially profiled, all that other stuff. So when we talk about police reform, we really have to know all the moving parts of that and why it even exists in the first place. But I think for me, I don't have faith in the justice system. And even if that means, like you said earlier, you should don't call him if this and that and the third is going to go on. That's fine because Breonna Taylor was in her whole house getting shot, minding her own very business. So I would prefer to start protecting myself rather than to call someone. And if I call them immediately because, I'm 5'10" or my voice is a little bit more powerful than others, I may be looked at as a threat.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of being a black woman, is that's even on the table at this point. It's always been on the table. The police itself, that's something that goes way back in history that I've never been cool with, but now it's like it's being filmed and it's not going to change, in my opinion.
So the camera, you said it like tilted. How did it tilt?
So when it fell off, just go watch it. It fell off his body. It fell off, and then from that point, he started to try to. And another adult had to intervene in the conversation and tell him, like, you're using excessive force. And he's like, the little girl's not a danger. Mind you, she's 11 years old. A little girl.
Yeah, that's too far.
The screams itself is so triggering and so sad. And we really have to look at ourselves as adults, like, why wouldn't nobody do something? Like, I get it that he's a cop and we have to respect authority, but if the authority's not even respecting an 11-year-old girl, that's crazy.
If they're going to look at every little girl, that's what they're going to do to you.
I ain't gonna make it.
I personally think that this whole little, like, it fell off bullshit, no. You need to put a screw right in the middle of that shit and screw that shit on. That way there is no possible fucking way of it falling off.
What I'm saying, and I get that, but the caveat to that, and I get it, like, we've had technology and, I'm grateful for it. But at the same time, it's like, we all know where we are in 2020, especially. Yeah. But if we're going to say we're going to hold people accountable to actual video, it's not going to change anything because, again, Breonna Taylor's people are still mourning her and there's still no justice. And we don't need to have footage of that. They probably had on body cams and some more stuff. I mean, to be honest with you, history has been recorded this entire time. And we've been murdered and slaughtered. And we're going to continue until we figure out a way how to get out of this hole where we're depending on people that we can't even trust when our tax dollars say that we should.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
On camera or not, they gonna catch a body.
Bullshit. You should be able to call the cops and be like, "Oh, I trust him. He's here to protect me."
Nah.
What you just said is a good point, that you should feel protected when the police come. But being a minority myself, I'll say that's not always the minority's experience.
Well, I know it's not true. But the fact of the matter is that it fucking should be.
Yeah, I think there's work to be done.
You know what? Granted, as a minority, I understand that we sometimes experience different behaviors. But even with myself, I worked at a behavior school last year where a lot of the students that we had were Caucasian, and they sometimes were treated with excessive force as well. So my problem with all of this is when white people are killed by cops, when white cops use excessive force on white people, like, nobody says anything about that. It's not a subject. Like, okay. And I think a lot of the problem is the media also hypes a lot of stuff up above and beyond. Because again, why is it only a problem when a black kid is roughed up by a cop? Why is it not a problem when a smart mouth 11-year-old white kid is roughed up by a cop? No, I'm serious.
Which happens all the time. You're right.
So
It happens very often.
We usually end up dead. So if a little white kid gets roughed up, I'm not gonna feel that bad because that's between you and your people. But for me, as a black person, when it comes to arguing getting roughed up like that, I feel like that's me personally. I'm extremely tired. I'm exhausted, and I'm sick of hearing Tamir Rice situation. I'm sick of hearing all of these situations where women are being murdered, and they try to pass it off like Sandra Bland killed herself. Like that's insulting our intelligence, and it sucks to suck. But the reality of it is, statistically, I don't know the numbers, but there's more white people than it is black. So of course, like even when you look at the numbers, we're still murdered at a higher rate, and there's still not more. Bottom line, we straight dying.
Nobody ever talks about Hispanic people dying. But the thing that I want to see people do is separate the race label because we're all Americans. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
At the end of the day, America's just a giant fucking box of crayons, and we find a way to get along for the most part. But for some reason, some people still think that we got to be African American, we got to be Mexican American, we got to be Caucasian American. Fuck that. We're Americans. Period. That's it.
I'm gonna tell you a little story, and I want y'all's opinion on this. So something that not very many people know about me. Well, actually, nobody knows about me. But so I was raped by a cop. So I was gay. His partner was on Grindr. And he was like, "Oh shit, he's gay." He's like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Yeah." He pulled up Grindr. He saw my profile, and he started filling up on me. And I was like, "So what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, don't act like you don't fucking like it, blah, blah, blah. You're just a little faggot, just like first blah, 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 whatever." It made fucking news in my city. Not a single motherfucking person talked about it. And the very next day, he was out back on the street. So I completely understand where you come from. I get it. And like I said, the fact of the matter is that that's why I want to be a cop. Because that shit did not happen to fucking anybody. Any fucking body.
I feel that. I know for the most part, it's like a big brotherhood, and they, for some reason, protect each other, and they look when other shit fucking happens. Like, it's fucked up, man. It's fucked up. I personally had my ass beat by a cop before. I ran from him, and he caught me, whatever. But still, like I think that if I was white, I wouldn't have got my ass beat for running from him.
Like, the fact of it, like, while he had me in the back of his fucking car, like, fucking raping his fucking partner's doing something. But no, this little fucking brotherhood bullshit, no, he just fucking sat there and watched guard. The moment you break the fucking law, this little brotherhood don't mean shit. Because now you're one of them. Now you're a fucking criminal. And you is no longer part of the fucking brotherhood. Fuck that.